I get set up, got the shooting sticks all set up, got my pistol set up. And sure enough, this buck is up on the ridge on the other side. He's walking back and forth. Well, my heart was beating so fast I couldn't hardly control myself. You know, this very likely could be my biggest whitetail I've ever taken.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by the Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Nikon, the trusted name in optics. Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Thompson Center, America's master gun maker. Cabela's, the world's foremost outfitter. The Buck Bomb blows away traditional scents. Bad Boy Buggies, they'll never hear you coming. And by Remote Locations, Secrets of Making Outdoor TV, a 150-page full-color book from Orion Multimedia. Order by phone 1-800-850-9453.
Mr. Whitetail Larry Wisehoon and Oak Creek Whitetail Ranch guide Barry Hendricks, this episode of Winchester World of Whitetail will be about covering the ground, searching for what could turn out to be a buck of a lifetime.
One of the beauties of this particular property is there's great habitat. I mean, there is understory everywhere, tall grass, tall bushes. In this particular instance, in coming to Oak Creek Whitetails, I knew a little bit about the operation. I'd met Donald Hill, knew a little bit about what his operation was like, knew something about the quality of deer. When it came right down to it, I was hoping to take just a really good, mature whitetail deer. One that was maybe a 10-point, something in the 150s, 160 class kind of deer, because that's pretty typical of what you find in a lot of areas of well-managed places in Missouri where I've hunted in the past.
Where Wisehoon's hunting is in Missouri, in the central part of the state. Oak Creek Whitetail Ranch lies near the Gasconade River, a tributary of the wide Missouri. The ranch is 1,800 acres of rolling fields and hardwoods, making for ideal deer habitat.
We've been intensively managing whitetail deer since 1992, just trying to get the biggest, prettiest, big framey deer that we could possibly get on the property.
We do a lot of spotting and stalking. We do get aggressive at times with horns. We just don't go sit in a stand and hope that luck walks by us.
From long experience, Wisehoon knows that in this kind of cover he may find himself in a situation that calls for a rifle instead of his pistol. So before he heads out to hunt, he needs to know that both are dead on.
I set this hunt up as a pistol hunt. I've been working with Nikon on a new scope, the new Encore pistol scope, or long eye relief scope, and so essentially the whole hunt was set up as a pistol hunt. Sometimes there are situations when you're hunting in dense woods, particularly shooting a pistol, getting on an animal very quickly is quite difficult. And I didn't know for sure what was going to happen. I said, Barry, do you mind carrying my Icon rifle? It's in a 270. If we get in a situation where I just feel totally uncomfortable about taking a shot with that pistol and it's a deer that we really want to take, I want to be able to switch over to that rifle very quickly. Something I've done for many, many years. I dearly love to rattle, and this is an excellent time. We're hunting under particular circumstances where we can hunt right before the rut here in Missouri. We got set up in another spot, and it's fairly windy that day. And you really don't know how far those deer can hear you in these, because I mean, the leaves are making all kinds of noise, and finally the wind dies down just a little bit. Then I'm grinding the horns together, and I'm doing everything I know to try to get that buck to respond. And here comes a buck.
That's a super buck right there.
Now, he didn't come charging in like I wanted him to, but he was an absolute tall monster, at least 10 points. He walks out there meaning behind all kinds of brush, stops in one spot, and I can see from about here on up. I mean, I can see those old big antlers. He stood there for a long time, and I tried grunting. I tried rattling. I tried everything I could to get him to come down that little draw toward us where we could get a better look at him and possibly get a shot. As is so often the case when you're dealing with big, mature white-tailed deer, they're extremely wary, very, very cautious. And that's what this buck was. He just came in, looked. Next thing you know, he totally disappeared.
No matter how natural Wiseun's rattling sounds to us, it doesn't seem to be having the desired effect on the deer. The best he seems to be able to do is to draw in a few spikes and needleheads. The big boys wearing the rocking chairs are apparently not buying it today.
That's a good buck right there, Larry. Come on, he's going to cross this open. Okay.
He's walking. Oh, God.
Oh, he's going on up the hill. He's going on up the hill.
Larry Wiseun's on the hunt for a trophy whitetail on Oak Creek Ranch in the woods of central Missouri. But his favorite technique of rattling a buck in isn't producing. While Larry continues to sift through the thick Missouri cover, let's take a look at some of the keys to growing monster deer in the first place. You are what you eat, and so are deer. Wiseun's lifetime of experience as a hunter, biologist, and deer manager has taught him that one of the key factors in growing big bucks is feeding them the right stuff, as dictated by the habitat.
One of the ways to produce a better deer herd is to increase that nutrition within that deer herd. You can bring the population down to what that habitat can support, but maybe it's not enough deer to produce that you're going to be able to utilize. So one of the things you might want to look at is doing some supplementation, either in terms of planting food plots or in terms of supplemental feed. Food plots are absolutely great. I mean, we've got so many different great types of forages out there today that are available through like Wild Game Innovations or Evolved Habitat and maybe a few other places, but you know, food plots in certain situations really don't work very well. In parts of Texas where I've managed deer where you've got a rock wall, I mean, basically that's what you're dealing with is rocks. There's no topsoil, maybe very little moisture. So in those particular situations, if you're trying to improve that deer herd through nutrition, one of the things you might want to take a serious look at is supplemental feeding. Now there are those that say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you'd supplementally feed a ration. It really makes no difference. It's an agricultural product. Nutrition, regardless of how you accomplish it, whether you do it through food plots, if you've got topsoil and water, or if you don't through supplemental feeding, that's one of the ways that you can produce a bigger, better, and a higher quality deer herd.
For more Larry's management tips, go to versuscountry.com. The deer are here on Oak Creek Ranch in Missouri. But so far, the action on big bucks has been slow to glacial for Wiseun and guide Barry Hendricks.
Barry and I had been hunting for at least 2 days, but we're easing down, walking just on the inside of the brush where we can kind of keep an eye on, we have a little open area right there.